Yep. Hey everybody, how are you? This is Musa, Ambassador Digital Magazine Live. How are you? I'm coming from a different location. So just wanted you to know I'm here at Crystal Blake Studio, and that's my daughter in the background. That's Jade. Say hi, Jade. She didn't say hi. Okay, she's a teenager. She might be in the back. So, you know, I'm here, you know, a different location, but the same thing is going down tonight. I'm so excited. We have an incredible guest, a really good friend of mine. I'm looking forward to this guest. We have a lot of, you know, a couple things to talk about, you know, and with that said, you know, normally we have our opening video, but, you know, this was a little bit, you know, this week has been a lot for all of us. We laid to rest an amazing, incredible American woman, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, RBG, the notorious RBG. And what an amazing life she led. She actually, you know, not just for women, but for, you know, but for everybody. She was for everybody. And it's so sad that she passed, but she, you know, I believe she passed on a Jewish holy day. So, you know, which is probably very fitting because she was an amazing soul. And so I want to say thank you for all that you did for all of us. We will continue your fight. We have to continue your fight. And, you know, but that was just one of the things that happened. And, you know, in this country, we've been, one of the things that did happen was, which just, there's really no words. What I'm going to say next is the verdict for Breonna Taylor came. And I tell you, I didn't sleep last night. I'm going to keep it 100 with you guys. I don't lie. I'm authentic. I'm Harlem. And, you know, raised by women, Black women. My mom, my sisters, grew up, you know, without Black women, this country would be nothing. Nothing, absolutely nothing. So I just want to say I'm grateful. I'm extremely grateful for her life, because even though she didn't live long, the impact from her life will live for long. And the verdict that came down is revolting, is disgusting. You know, it's disrespectful. Her life meant absolutely nothing. And we know, maybe, what is it, a week before that, she was awarded, her family was awarded $12 million, which is nothing in comparison to this precious woman's life, who was an EMT worker, you know, who just came home to go to bed, and her life was ended when bullets came through and she was killed. And her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, was there defending her. And, you know, so here we are. You know, the verdict came down yesterday, which was the 23rd. And here's the irony, is that 65 years ago, Emmett Till's verdict came down, where the also white men who did this killing to him were acquitted. 65 years, which is symbolic. So many symbolisms have been happening, you know, that in 65 years, we have made no progress. We have made very little progress. And if you want to say we've made progress, how can you say we made progress when you can't go to bed? You can't walk down the street. You can't, you know, hold water in your hand. You can't sell CD. You can't do anything. You can't walk from your house to the grocery store without someone killing you, okay? So if you call that progress, I don't know what country you live in, okay? I say it's not progress when there's two justice systems out there. And this AG, who's a Black, well, you know what? I'm a Black man. I'm a real Black man. 100. All right? You're disgraceful. All right? You're disgraceful. We don't even probably even want to say his name, but the AG, who's a brother, you know, kissing up, delivered, said justice has been served to a woman that looked just like probably his aunts. But, you know, you know, we call them sellouts. He did a long time ago, you know. So here we are today, you know, in the aftermath of this, and the fights continues. There's riots and protests going on around the country. You know, there he is. I swear to God, I would love to meet you, man. Love to meet you and tell you exactly what I think of you. Exactly. Okay? What she got, I hope you get. I'm not holding words. I'm keeping it authentic and 100 tonight because that's what it is. That's how I feel. Enough is enough. We're tired. Justice for Breonna Taylor. Okay? We're going to continue to fight. So also want to, we can move on from that. Yeah, watching. Yeah, Kevin, thank you and Courtney, I saw you guys. You know, so anyway, but we're gonna shift gears. We're gonna before we shift gears, we just want to say once again, from Harlem, from the Ambassador Digital Mag, for our people, to the Breonna Taylor family, we're with you, and we will continue to post and to stand with the family until justice is served. You know, as long as you're out there, we're out there. Okay. And so with that said, I want to shift gears entirely. And I am so excited to welcome my esteemed guest. She is, what do I say about her? She's an amazing woman, person, human being, a friend of mine. She's known throughout the world as one of the pioneering legendary models. She has walked for almost all the houses, from Givenchy to Yves Saint Laurent to you know, the late great Patrick Kelly, to Calvin Klein, to Donna Karan, all of them. You know, she's been all around the world. She was the first Black model in Sports Illustrated. And she has been working in this industry now for 40 years. So we're going to bring on the legendary, my dear friend, Coco Mitchell. Come on down.
Hi, Musa.
Hi, sweetheart. And I want to just, in all authenticity, want to say to everybody, say, you know, she is, oh, wow, Deborah. Thank you, Deborah. Coco is here in the studio. We are social distancing for all y'all out there. So sending no text messages, okay?
I can't see the text because I don't have my glasses on.
But so you might hear a bit of an echo. But we're here. So we're not going to, I'm going to let you speak, Coco. I'll speak, so we won't have an echo.
Okay.
But anyway, I want to say, Coco, thank you for joining us, Ambassador Digital Mag. And it's so great to have you in our studio and to be working with you. And I've known you for some time.
Well, Musa, first of all, thank you for having me.
Oh.
And I want to say I'm very proud of you for going after your dream, going after the things that you want to go after and sticking to it. And then having people that really love you and that want to help you with your dream. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. That's beautiful. Okay, so we're going to jump right in.
Okay.
And people that, listen, I love your story, and we're going to kind of start at the very beginning. So tell me about you. Tell us about where you grew up. And I know, here we go. I know, what I do know is you grew up with a lot of brothers. And
okay,
let's go there.
All right. Oh, my phone is dying. Hi, my name is Coco Mitchell. I am from Tampa, Florida. I grew up in Queens, New York. But before we moved to Queens, we lived in Harlem. I was 5 years old when we moved here. And we lived on 145th Street and Amsterdam Avenue above a pharmacy. And I went to school right around the corner, PS 186, which is now the Boys and Girls Club of New York. Loved Harlem. This had to be, well, I was 5, it had to be 1957, 58. This is when Black people walked around with suits and ties, and the women wore dresses and they carried purses, and people owned their own shops. It was a wonderful time to be a young person, seeing people that look like you doing things that were normal. It wasn't like something out of the ordinary. But then we moved to Queens. And Queens, we sort of integrated it. And it was kind of difficult. It was kind of weird. But we lived in a house. We had a yard. It was amazing. Oh, you have my confirmation picture there. It was amazing. I grew up with my mother and my grandmother, two strong Black women who held it down, who made it work. And that's where I get my work ethic from. I believe that you can do whatever you want as long as you stick to it and you have purpose. And that's the way I grew up. I went to City College of New York. I love that picture. I went to City College of New York. I graduated. I became a teacher. I taught 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade in a Catholic school. I made no money, but I lived on Central Park West and 96th Street. But I walked from 96th to 25th for one whole year. It was crazy. And then Eileen Ford came into my life, and she stopped me on the street and she asked me if I had a book. And I said, I have lots of books. I have books for reading, books for writing. And she's like, no, a book with pictures of yourself in it. And I said, why would I have a book like that? I'm a teacher. All proud, my mother wanted me to be a teacher. She said, no. A book with pictures, like a model. And I said, I don't know what you mean. Because to tell you the truth, I didn't grow up wanting to be a model. It wasn't a dream when I was a little girl. I grew up wanting to be the best that I could be for my mother and my grandmother, who raised me and who wanted the best for me. And for them, it was being a teacher. So I was, doing what my mother wanted me to do. But when Eileen Ford gave me her card, I started to think, and I said, well, maybe. And it's funny because I don't know if I was praying. I don't know. You saw my catechism picture there, my confirmation picture. I don't know, maybe from learning the catechism, maybe from learning all these things when I was a little kid going to church. Maybe I was praying and I was asking God, what do I do? Here's this woman who says that I should call her up. Should I sign the contract? I taught only 1 year. Or should I do something else? Am I supposed to go in a different direction? So I figured, I think I'm supposed to go in a different direction. Should I be walking from 96th to 25th every day for the rest of my life, making no money? So I called Eileen Ford on the phone. We made an appointment. She sat me down, and we started talking. And as far as I was concerned, it was like, wah, 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 wah. I'm a college graduate. I'm not a child. It's not a lifelong dream to be a model. But when she said that you could travel and you could learn different languages and you can make money, I said, okay, that's what I want to do. And that was my ambition, to help my family and to better my life and enrich my life. And that's what I started doing. And I started in New York, which I loved. I loved the whole not knowing what's going to happen, which is kind of crazy because most people don't like that. But I didn't like the fact that I had to go on so many castings, and I had to do it in the summer. New York is hot, and in the winter, New York is cold. And I was a Catholic school teacher. I didn't have the clothes. I didn't have everything that I think that you needed for the job.
Mm-hmm.
But by the grace of God, I was working. I did Mademoiselle, I did Glamour. But I went to Eileen and I said, Eileen, I just don't feel right doing this in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Where can I go that's warm? And I think because I was born in Florida, my DNA says you need to be on the beach, girl. So she said you could either go to Miami or you could go to LA. So I went to LA. I get to LA and I don't know you have to drive. Now, growing up, we didn't have a car. We didn't have money. I didn't even know.
LA.
Excuse me, what?
I mean, you go to LA and how do you get around if you don't have a car?
You have to have a car. You can't go on castings. You can't work without a car.
Mm-hmm.
So here I am in LA, staying in my friend's sister's apartment with her. And she was Bill Cosby's personal assistant. And all she did was smoke marijuana and pass out. So while she was passed out and we lived on a cul-de-sac, I would take her car and inch up, inch back, inch up, inch back. And I kind of taught myself how to drive. So I needed a job. I had no money. So I met this really lovely woman and she was on her way to the beauty salon. And I said, can I go with you? So I asked the owner if I could sweep up hair in the salon to make money, to make tips. Now, because of the way that I was raised, and it was without guilt, without shame, being proud that my mother and my grandmother were making it work, I didn't feel that I was bigger or better, that I couldn't sweep up hair.
Right.
And then I became the shampoo girl. So doing that, I saved money and I went to this place called Rent a Wreck. I don't know if you know of this place.
Oh my God. Is that like the place where, I remember that back in the day, there'd be like these beat up jalopies.
Oh yeah, the car that I bought, the transmission, you couldn't go in reverse. And then the driver's side and the passenger side was bashed in. I had to climb in through the back. Now here I am, a model in LA, going to see, first it was Mary Webb Davis, and then I moved to Nina Blanchard with this jalopy. But because it was my car that I swept up hair to buy, I didn't care what people thought. I think I was not raised to really be concerned with how others felt or thought, or even go into what they're thinking. I think I was just raised with purpose in mind and intention.
Wow.
And my intention was to get an agent and to work and to live in LA and have a great life. So that's what I did. I got an agent. I started working. I lived in LA for 7 years. And they kept sending me back and forth to Europe, to Florence, to work with a photographer named Aldo Falai. And he did all the campaigns for Armani. So now I was a print girl. I'm going back and forth to Florence. And I said to myself, the next time they send me, I'm going to stay. My idea was to study art and learn Italian. So I'm not thinking like a model. Most models would have been like, okay, where should I go? What should I do? And everyone kept saying, you should be in Milan. And I'm thinking, what's Milan? So eventually I had to leave Florence. I did have to work, you know. I mean, even though the guys there, you know.
I know. They must have loved you. And
it was great.
Italian men,
I never
we'll
spent,
get into that in a minute.
I never spent a dime.
Of course you didn't.
So I went to Milan and I got an agent, Ricardo Guy. And my first casting, they sent me to see Giorgio Armani. And I get there and I'm very, you know, California girl, just kind of down, you know, print, you know, not like that. So I'm sitting down and he comes in and he says, walk. And I can't understand. First of all, he doesn't really speak English. And I'm thinking, did he say walk?
Walk, right.
He said, walk. And I said, I think my phone's about to die. Crystal.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
If that happens, you're just going to come over here. We've already, she'll sit right next to me and we're going to talk.
So it said it doesn't accept this accessory for some reason.
Do you have one? Do you have yours?
This is the whole thing, y'all.
Sorry, guys.
No, but this is good. This is juicy. We're talking about, we left off where you're talking about Giorgio Armani asked you to walk.
Yes.
And if you're a model, being a model,
I didn't know anything about walking.
Right. And it's a specific type of walk.
And I don't even know what that is. I'm thinking, what? So he puts Ricardo on the phone. And Ricardo said, Coco, this is Giorgio Armani. He wants to book you for 3 shows at $15,000 a show. I said, but I don't know what walk means. He said, okay, all Black girls know how to walk. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm in trouble. So here we are. Ricardo says to me, act like, they thought I was younger than I was. I was already, I think, 25 when I started. He said, act like you have on your mother's high heels, you have a scarf, and you have a purse.
How do they look? You want to show them?
Can I do that?
Why not? Start at the couch and then come and walk. How do they look? This is
so here I am.
This
is
fun.
Armani. I'm looking at you. I say, Ricardo, don't hang up. I go like this, purse, scarf, and I go up on the heels.
Okay. Uh-oh.
And then I turn and I walk.
Let me see. Okay. Oh.
Armani is laughing.
Oh my God.
And I'm thinking, okay. So I get back to the agency. Ricardo tells me he books me for the shows. I'm at the Armani show. We're all sitting there. We're having our makeup done. We have on these huge white terry cloth robes. We're eating out of china, real china, using silverware.
The best.
And, the best. And Armani comes into the room and he looks at all of us and he says, I booked you because you're the best in the world. Second time somebody is telling me that I could do something that I have no clue. Eileen and now Armani.
Wow. Two legends.
Yeah, and I have this thing. I didn't know who these people were, first of all. Remember that. But I have this thing where you know what you're doing. You're the specialist. I'm going to listen. So here I am. I did the shows. That season, I did 25 shows in Milan, not knowing a thing. But remember, thank God, there were no videotapes. There was no monitor backstage. They couldn't see that I was a mess. At the end of the season, this photographer comes up to me and he's like, who are you, in this Italian accent? And I was raised that, if you don't know what to do, don't take offense, just kind of smile or laugh. So I started laughing. I said, Coco. He said, what are you doing out there? I was thinking, the jig is up. I have been found out. He said, you're horrible.
Oh, damn.
I was, and it wasn't a lie. I'm not going to take offense to something that's true. So he said, are you going to Paris? I said, yes. He said, don't go. And I'm like, no, but I want to go. He said, okay. His name was Graziano Ferrari. He said, here's my card. When you get to Paris, call me. I get to Paris. I call him. I'm in the pit. I don't know if you guys know, but back in the 80s, all of the shows we walked above ground. We didn't walk on the ground. Right.
It was a stage and they were lower. The photographers.
Yeah, the people that were sitting, they were sitting lower than us. We were above everyone. And the photographers were at the end in like a pit. So this guy, Graziano, said to me, when you're walking, what are you doing with your eyes? I was looking at the audience, but I was walking straight and I was looking like this. He said, this is a press show. We can't use any of these pictures. So while I'm sitting in the pit with him in Paris, with all the stinky photographers yelling and screaming and trying to get the shot, he's saying, look, see how that girl's walking? See how she's walking straight towards us? She's not looking off to the left or right. She's totally focused. This is what you have to do. And I'm thinking, I can do that.
Right.
Then he starts talking about, see where her hand is, and see how her head is, and see how she turns, and see how she does all this stuff. And I'm thinking, I can't do that. He said, okay, all you have to do is, back in the day, when you walked, sometimes you were in threes, sometimes you were in twos, sometimes you were single. He said, if you're walking in threes, in order for us to take your picture, we want you to just move a little bit to the left and we'll just get you. Or move a little bit to the right, if just make sure you're not so close to the other girls. That's how I learned how to walk. I learned how to walk by watching in that pit for maybe 4 or 5 shows. And then I started going on castings. But because I had the right look, I had the right height, and I had a certain sense of just, I don't know, maybe I walked tall and I was proud and it worked. My first casting was with Valentino in Paris. And we were all in this room and he was going, no, 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 no. He gets to me, he says, I could feel the daggers in my back. I was like, oh God, oh my God, oh my God. So that was the beginning of Paris. I love Paris. I did Givenchy, I did Yves Saint Laurent, I did Christian Dior. I did Issey Miyake. Just a lot of people. I mean, I loved, I'm not going to say that I loved it. In the beginning, I thought it was silly that we take 2 hours to get ready to do something that we're going to do for 15 minutes.
Right.
I didn't understand that it was a business until I came to New York. I thought it was just, you go on the castings, you get booked, you do the show. Me, I would go on vacation afterwards. I wasn't flying back to New York to do an option for Calvin, an option for Donna, an option. I was like, I didn't really get into it for a lot of reasons that a lot of people got into modeling. I got into modeling to just enjoy the beauty of it and not to rush my life, Right.
You were there, listen, I know that you were there and you did all the shows, Givenchy, Yves Saint Laurent, everybody. But,
I think that's Givenchy right there.
That's Givenchy, right. And a lot of the women at that time, I'm sure they hung out together and all that. What were you doing when were you out partying with them?
I partied like a rock star.
Yeah, what was that like? and we're at the La Palace and the Bandouche.
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. The first party I went to in Paris with my agent, Gerard from Paris Planning. And we go to Le Palace.
La Palace.
And I get there and Iman is sitting at the table. Now, I didn't tell you this, Musa, but I had worked with Iman in New York with Francesco Scavullo for Revlon. And the product was called Polished Ambers. And because I didn't really stay in New York or live in New York, I don't know if that product was popular, but it was for Black women of color. Okay, so Iman is sitting there. I walk in, there's Iman, there's Janice Dickinson, there's all these supermodels, I guess you would call them. But I just remembered Iman was just so gracious and kind, and she was pro us. She wasn't like a lot of the Black women that I met in the beginning that didn't really talk to me. But like I told you in the beginning, at first, I thought I was going to have all these Black friends. I was so happy to go to Milan because I had seen Black girls in the shows there. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God. But for some reason, they didn't like me.
Mm.
But I remembered, what's your purpose?
Right.
Why are you here?
Right.
You were here to make money, to better your life, and to help your family.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it.
Yeah.
I started just having a good time. I had great boyfriends. I was engaged 3 times. It was out of control.
I love that part.
It was out of control. I've been all over the world. I mean, I have had an amazing, amazing, amazing life. And I thank God, because I think that everything that has happened in my life moved me, God, I believe it was God, from one place to the next, to the next, to the next. And then I came back. I lived in Europe for 10, 11 years. And I thought, my mother's getting older. My mother used to visit all the time and stay for months. But my sister's having kids. I don't know my nieces and nephews. I think it's time to come home.
Yeah.
But it was really, that's Patrick Kelly's show.
Is that Patrick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk about him in a second. I want to know,
Yeah.
interesting, because in Paris, what people don't know, like, there was, it wasn't a whole lot of us over there at that time. And especially,
But there were
Black American designers.
Oh, okay.
That's what I meant.
Yes.
And so, there were a lot of, there was a lot of women, a lot of, there was men, but Black designers.
Yes. I met
from
Patrick,
America.
I met Patrick that first night at that party at Le Palace. And he comes up to me with his Alabama accent, Coco Mitchell, I want you to do my show.
Right.
Now, because I did not live in New York, I didn't know who Patrick Kelly was. And it's obvious that everyone knew him, all the Black people. He was a person that we all knew, but I didn't, because it wasn't my culture. I mean, I was living in Italy. I was speaking Italian. I was hanging out with Italian people. And then I go to Paris, and I have a French boyfriend. So when he says he wants me to do his show, I'm thinking, who is this? Whatever. I said, okay, all right, all right. Do you know the next season I went to Paris, my luggage did not arrive? And all I could do was think, where's that guy Patrick Kelly? I need to call him. I found his number somehow. I figured who gave it to me. I called him up, and Patrick literally got on the floor and cut out, raw edge, 6 dresses for me to go on castings. Then on top of that, he allowed me to stay in his apartment on Rue de Saint-Pierre in Saint-Germain. This is the center of town. You want to be there. So look at God. Look at all the blessings, So I started doing Patrick shows, which I loved. They were so much fun. And then I'm working, but at the end of the day, everyone would show up at the backer was Warnaco, and they put all this money behind him. So he had this big, beautiful space. Patrick would cook collard greens. He would cook candy yams. He would do fried chicken. When the buyers would come in, they didn't know that Patrick Kelly was a Black person. Because Patrick Kelly could be a white name.
Right.
Patrick comes into the room talking like this, offering people fried chicken and cornbread. They loved him.
Loved him.
Loved him. He was himself. He was himself. And that was a really good experience, because then I got a chance to meet all the Black girls that had lived there, that spoke French, African American girls, not Africans, because I had a lot of African friends, but African American models that lived in Paris, like Sherry Gordon. I don't know if Roz lived in Roz. You know Roz?
Rosalind.
Rosalind,
You see
and
Rosalind Johnson.
Rosalind Johnson and
right.
Raj. All of these girls
Yeah.
lived in Paris.
Was Lou there?
Lou was in Paris, but I don't think she lived there.
Okay.
She was like me. She was in and out, you know,
Right.
doing her thing. And they were lovely. They were really, really, really nice women. But I could not have lived there. I didn't know. The types of jobs that they had, it's not that it was beneath me, but I didn't want to work 9 to 5. I didn't want to work in what they called a cabine. I didn't want to do that. I want to go on the castings, do my show, and go to the next show. Fit my clothes, fit what I'm wearing, and then move on. So, yeah. So that
it's Patrick's birthday today.
I know.
Patrick, ironically, having him on the show, and you're one of his favorite models. And I found, I was like, oh my God, what a blessing that today would be Patrick Kelly's birthday.
Patrick was wonderful.
Yeah.
He was so loving and kind and generous.
Yeah. I got to meet him as I was leaving Paris. I was supposed to do the show. I did a lot of shows when I was there. My first season and then my second season. But I was known as the Gaultier boy, Jean Paul Gaultier. So, and Daniel Hester and Stephen Placier, and I did Chanel and stuff. And so, you know, as I was leaving to come back to the States, I was like, oh wow, there's a black guy named, you know, Patrick Kelly, and I just like the overalls, cool. And I just was like, he just seemed like, wow, this to me was like taking it home. He brought a sense of who we were, really, our heritage.
Yeah, but you know the strange thing, when I was staying in his apartment, because he was the person to get in touch with, everybody was getting in touch with him. People were stopping by all the time. And I looked at him and I said, Patrick, are you a serious designer? I mean, this is not serious to me. How can people be in your home? I could see going out and partying and coming home. But and that's what I'm talking about. That's how generous he was. Yeah. If you called him, you could come by. Oh, yeah, child, come on. Yeah.
Right. But that's what, you know what, Coco, we talk about this, and interestingly enough, because people may not know, like that's a very Southern hospitality. Right. And your family is from Cuba, and I was born in Florida. You're born in Florida,
right? My mother's Cuban, and my father's from Eleuthera, a small island near the Bahamas.
Okay. And that's it, not hospitable like that, but it's very Southern. Come on over, and everybody comes over. You need something to eat, and you know there's a lot of hungry models, and especially the type of food. But you also, once you tasted his food,
it was delicious.
You know, inviting you over for something to eat, you want to have the fried chicken that you can't get anywhere else. You couldn't get it. Where else you gonna get fried chicken and collard greens
in Paris
and ham hocks in Paris? But
and cornbread.
And cornbread.
Well, because people would bring stuff from America to him.
Right.
It was crazy.
Yeah, but that was a great time. Yeah. And moving from there and then coming back to the States here.
We talked about something else. You asked me about diversity.
Okay, we did. So let's talk about that. At that time, there were so many. I remember, listen, as a guy model, in print model, you were always like maybe the only guy on the job. Right. But in terms of the business at hand, there was a ton of us. There was a crew of us.
Well, all I know is that
black models.
When your agent says to you, all black girls know how to walk,
right?
I knew there was something to that, because Saint Laurent, he had a lot of black girls on his show. Givenchy, you need to interview Sandy Bass. Givenchy brought about 70 girls from Los Angeles to Paris. Black African American models. Carol Miles, Sandy Bass. I can't think of the But
Givenchy
whatever.
Rosalind is Roz Johnson, right?
No, she
not with
wasn't from LA.
Okay.
See, this is how I knew the black girls were there.
Okay.
Because Givenchy did that. But as far as diversity, the black models rule the runway at a certain time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I was there, and I thank God I was there. I mean, and I thank God for people like Iman, who, if she was in the room, she was going to invite you to be in the room. Mm-hmm. And I love that about her because she was like an advocate for black models. Mm-hmm. Things started to change, and I started noticing the change when we as a people didn't want to help each other.
When did that happen? I mean, that
happened in like the early 90s.
The 90s, right? Yeah. I was leaving the business because it wasn't like that when I was there, but I did notice a shift, you know?
The early 90s. And I said to myself, I don't really understand what's going on.
Right.
So what I'm going to do is, there's a little bird chirping. It's okay. And I decided that I was going to come back to New York because the vibe, first of all, when I'm in Italy and I go on a casting, Jill Sander, and she says that and I spoke Italian at the time, and this casting was in Italy. And I heard her say, I don't want those kinds of black people. I don't want the Ooga Booga. I want the more like Leah Kadebi.
More like who?
Leah Kadebi.
Oh, like Leah Kadebi. Okay.
That's when I said, it's a wrap.
Okay.
I gotta go. Because right now, the legends are all gone. I'm kind of there with people, models who only think about themselves, not thinking about, not wanting to be the only one in the room. See, we weren't like that. It wasn't like you had to be the only one in the room. The models who were working, the black models who were working, not the ones who were trying to work, the ones who were working helped each other out. So I came back to New York and I started to try to figure out how this worked here. And I hated it. I hated the fact that every young black model that I met, they were telling me that they don't want to use black girls. I hated the fact that they looked so beat down by all of this. I kept saying to them, you need to go to Europe, and even if they don't use you, you get a different perspective on who you are. Right. Because the people are going to love you. So it'll raise your self-esteem. But I didn't like it. So I went from this place to that place, and it's funny because Crystal,
I see her. Just come in, Crystal.
Just come, Crystal. She just showed me a picture of myself, Crystal, Pat Tracy, in a book for Zoli. Now, I was with Zoli for a hot second, like I said, because I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do here in New York.
Right.
But I hated it. I hated the fact that they didn't understand how fabulous black people were. And I knew that I was fabulous. Right. So I'm thinking, okay, I need to find my people. And I met Ralph Rucci.
Wonderful.
In a restaurant. And he comes up to me and he says, Coco Mitchell, like Patrick Kelly, I want you to do I want you to do my show. No, he says, I want you to do my fittings. And I'm thinking, fittings with an S? I don't know what that means, because a fitting for me is I fit my clothes, the clothes I'm wearing in the show. I do the show, and then that's it. I said, and I was like this, by this time I was, what do you mean? He says, I want you to fit every dress, every outfit, every piece of my collection. And I said, why would I do that? That sounds like a job. I'm not looking for a job. And that was always my thing. I am, and I'm still not looking for a job. This is a career. I want to get paid for what I'm worth. I don't want to be treated like a slave. The Bible says a workman is worthy of his hire. I'm worthy to be paid a certain amount of money. And I think because I was used to that, and people tell me, well, it's not like it was back in the day. My God is greater than what you're saying.
Right.
Okay?
You're the standard.
My God owns all of this, and I'm his child.
Got it.
And he's given me that standard as his child.
Right.
So whatever you're saying, I'm not going along with it. It's not true. It's not my truth. Right. And that's where I stand to this day. You know.
And you attribute that energy as to part of your longevity, would you say, because you know, being in the business as long as you have and still being able to do the type of work that you do?
You know what it is, Musa?
Comes from somewhere.
It comes from understanding that this is not a joke.
Okay.
People don't pay you all this money for no reason. If you don't know what you're doing, then you're not going to be booked. I'm not walking the same way that I walked in the 80s and 90s. I just did New York Fashion Week. I read all of the business of fashion, Vogue.com. I read all of the articles. I watch every show. I watch all the shows from all over the world.
Right.
I know what they're looking for, right? And in my mind, I see myself right there, right now, today, in that show, in that position, whatever job that is.
The visualization, manifestation, right? Already there.
I see it. I see it. Why can't I see that?
Wow.
Why can't I? And you know, and I just think that that's just who I am. That's the way that I think. And I think the longevity comes from knowing what's going on, doing my homework, and being ready when the door opens.
Nice.
That's all I can do. Be ready when God opens the door, because he says, I set before you an open door that no man can shut.
Beautiful.
So
there's a lot of, you know, I'm seeing a new crop of designers, you know, and you mentioned one that, you know,
Christopher John Rogers.
Christopher John Rogers, you said? Yeah, I've been seeing his name. I think I saw something on him recently. What do you think about what would you say is different from back in the day with the, you know, with the Patricks and the Willie Smiths and the Eppersons? That is, well, Epperson's with us, great. But today with the new designers, new Black designers, do you see a parallel? Or do you see a totally different work ethic?
Well, see, Christopher John Rogers to me is an old soul. Okay. He does his homework.
That's good.
He knows which era. He knows the poses. We just did. I just worked with him for his lookbook. We shot his lookbook. He had a mood board. He had the models from like the 80s and 90s. He loves all of that. He loves the drama. He loves the movement. I love all of that too.
Right.
I love that he loves that it's an art form. And everybody is part of that equation.
Right.
And the team that he has with him, they all went to the same college. They're all friends. They work together, and you could see that he loves them and they love him. Nice, nice.
I love that. I love hearing that. I love, you know, one of the things I love telling young people in this business, and I always say this, is like you said it maybe earlier, is know the craft, know who came before you, research the greats. Even if they're not here,
Right.
If you're a photographer, know who horse.
But if you say you're a photographer and you don't know who Bill King is, you're not a photographer.
Or horse, or Penn, or
Scavullo.
Watson, Scavullo. You have to know how they Avedon. You have to know, their style, their techniques, even if that's not who you are. Having that bandwidth and of understanding is so important for not only photographers, but for the models. I would say as well. They seem to be doing their own thing, which is great. They're free in a lot of ways. I think that's a little bit different. We'll talk about that. The difference between the models, you mentioned the models back then, and how they ruled the runway and how they were, all over the place. This new generation that I see.
But before you go there, I want to say something. Because
Go ahead.
You asked me about my longevity.
Go ahead.
The other thing is, and I think it's my spirit of, I don't really have fear of people. I don't have fear of your perception of me. You don't even enter into my mind. I don't go into, well, she probably thinks like that. How would I know what she thinks? Why should I even think? What I did was to do the Christopher John Rogers show. I read in the Business of Fashion, I read about the Vogue Fashion Fund. And there were like 3 different designers in New York that were up for that fund. I went in my agency and I talked to Nikki. I just shot with Nikki. She was a booker there. I said, Nikki, I just read about Barragan, who was a Mexican designer. He was up for the award. And I said, I read about this Black designer, Christopher John Rogers. Can you send me on the go-see? Now, I had not been doing shows, but I've always wanted to work. I always like working with young people.
Right.
I like being in people's lives. I like being a part of their journey.
Right.
So if I had not asked her, then I never would have met him and I never would have done his show. Closed
mouths don't get fed.
So, and fearful people don't get anything out of life.
That's true.
You have to take a chance.
Yeah.
And you don't have to know everything. You have to almost like Jesus says, come to me as a little child. Children. We have to be like children.
Yeah.
Happy, excited. I'm grateful. I'm so excited for what's happening next. Not the new normal, because the old normal, I didn't think it was that great. First of all, it's horrible that people had to die. It's horrible that we had to have a pandemic to sit us down, to show us the reality of systematic racism and murdering of Black people. We had to see that in order to see and change stuff. So the new normal can't be that old thing.
Yeah.
It's got to be something else. It has to be like, look at what we're doing now.
Right.
We're having this interaction via the internet, which for me is not my cup. This is my first live.
Right. Thank you so much, by the way, for making us your first live.
But look at what God did.
Yeah.
Where I live, the Wi-Fi is horrible. So I am actually in the same room with Musa, but on a different device. I have not wanted to do a live because I want the human element. I don't really like the whole looking at you on this little teeny screen.
I know, right?
And me, I'm touching my hair and I'm doing, this is what I do. I fidget a lot. Sorry, guys. I fidget a lot, but
we love you. So you do no wrong. Okay,
I'm like this.
We love all of it.
My hair is swelling up. I'm trying to let it grow.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay. Yeah. So
and I totally hear what you're saying. I mean, this whole the world has the world has definitely changed from when we began. To today, and I love that you have adapted and been open to whatever comes, knowing that, like you said, God has your back,
right,
and your front and your side.
yeah.
You know,
And I have the back of all my young Black brothers and sisters in this business. Because if I'm in the room and there's no other Black people in the room, I stop production and I'm like, I don't feel good. I did this on a lure shoot. I said, I do not feel good. They're like, what's wrong? Can we get you something? I said, I'm the only Black person in the room. They said, oh no, there was a Black guy. I said, you mean the caterer? We have to speak up.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Ralph Rucci dearly, but at one point I was the only Black girl on the show. And I said, Ralph, do you realize that I'm the only? If we don't say anything, they don't realize it. And it's not that he's racist, because he's not.
Yeah, I think that's what you said. That's a key point here that I always bring up. And I always say, you know, people read my Facebook posts, they hear how I speak, they know the kind of person that I am. And I always say, I have amazing friends,
right,
of all persuasions, okay? Jew, Black, white, gay, everything the world, what the world looks like. Oh, there you are in a commercial for Macy's.
Oh no, you know what this is?
This is for Macy's?
This is Macy's, but they kept me afterwards because they wanted to elevate the look, the Macy's look. So we did a separate shoot so they could, how do you say, to pitch it to the executives.
Right.
So it's not just so boring Macy's.
Right.
Like that. That was fun.
Love it. I see a lot of people joining in. I saw Sheila, Myron, Casey, of course,
Hi,
Kevin, our team, Casey too, Kevin, Sheila Ennis. I love
Kevin,
you guys.
hi, Kevin.
You know, Kevin McQueen.
Kevin,
hi, Stephen Rice.
Hi, Stephen.
Killed the hair. Kevin beat that face.
I wish you were here. You guys were here.
His magic. You all had a fabulous time on the set the other day. You know, and that's what I love about the business that we're in, is that I feel like there's always, every time I want to shoot, it's always new for me. It's always a chance to create magic. I always feel like that's the element that we have. You know what I mean? And
well, because you were in charge of it. See, for me, it's like the thing that I love the most is that I get a chance to meet. Most people cannot say this about their job or their career. I get a chance to meet. This was for Pat McGrath, I think. I get a chance to meet different people, different walks of life every time I work. New people. I mean, you weren't new, but you know, we don't.
No.
We got to know each other.
The team were new. Paul and
that's the part of this business that I love. And it's not for wimps. This business is not for wimps. You have to be able to walk into a room and know that you've never met these people. You know, and that's the fun part. But like you said, the creating part, it's fabulous. I mean, to create something. And I love that you guys were open to the fact that I wanted to do something different with my hair.
Well, here's the irony of that. I got a call from Stephen. Stephen will love that I'm bringing this up. And he says to me, he says, hey, I got some hair. Stephen's amazing. Stephen Rice is amazing hairstyle. He's working with me. This is the Mugler. You doing, there was Mugler.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I have to say Mugler.
Mugler. That was the, I mean,
any of us that were in Paris, we said Mugler. And so here you are, darling. You know what?
What?
Was this the one where also the show where you watched with Monkey?
No.
Okay, I was there. I was there.
That was probably before I was even in Paris.
Yeah, I was there for that one, where she came off the Monkey, because it's very similar. She had the similar. It was Africa as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, I love these shows. I love that era. I love that time.
So Stephen said about the hair. What did Stephen say? I'm sorry.
What Stephen said? What? You saw?
You said.
So Stephen said about the hair. He called me and says, "Hey," I'm like you, right? We all look this. I said, Stephen, I said, hey, you think she'll be open to me using hair for her? And I said, well, listen, bring it, right? And see what she says. He says, okay.
Yeah, but I had something else in mind.
And he came and he brought hair.
I did the Christopher John Rogers, the lookbook shoot, the fabulous hairdressers that he uses. She gave me strands of silver gray hair.
Right.
Now, I've always had short hair. I'm not a wig girl. At one point I had a weave. At one point I did wear wig, but I wasn't a wig girl.
Right.
So before I even saw what Stephen had, and that's why, Stephen, I love you, I said, let's use this and let's make it really modern. and I looked at Kevin McQueen, and I said, and I don't want 80s or 90s makeup, Kevin. And he was like, oh, yeah. You know, because I didn't want to, I didn't know. I knew it was about me. I knew that you were going to be profiling me.
Right.
So I wanted Coco to be shown.
And you got it.
And you guys brought it, and I love you, and I thank you. And Paul, mwah,
Paul
mwah.
Paul can't hear us right now. We're having, I just want to tell everybody, you know, when we make these, these FBLIVE YouTubes and everything like that, sometimes it's technically challenging, as anyone knows. I think all the major networks have been technically challenging.
Right.
So sometimes they're in and out, and I know Paul's back there trying to figure everything out. And for us, because that's what he does.
Thank you, Paul.
But I love the team that I have. I love working with, I know, like you met Kevin McQueen back in '84.
I met Kevin when he was a baby.
He was a baby. I met him literally 3 years later. And we worked together, and I had a huge job. Which you were supposed to be there, but you were not here.
What
I
job?
recall. I had all the, yes, it was a fashion fundraiser, the first of its kind, Coco, at the Palladium in 1989. And I had all the girls, Naomi, Karen, Percy, and the guys, Alvin.
I was in Europe.
Garcelle was in it. All the designers gave me clothes. Armani gave me his entire collection. Alvin gave me his entire collection. It was
either I was in Europe or I was on vacation.
And you were on vacation. I tried to find you. But everybody wanted to help me because the islands were devastated by Hurricane Hugo.
Wow, that's right.
Beth Ann hosted. Back Five Party was on it with the DJ. Veronica Webb, everybody was in it. It was fantastic.
I wasn't there.
Everybody.
I wasn't feeling New York.
You were, and I was like,
no, I wasn't feeling America. I wasn't feeling America.
But Kevin did all those faces. Just to let you know what kind of person he was. I never forgot him. We have been friends now for over 30 years. When I started Ambassador Digital Magazine, he came right away and was on board.
Kevin is fierce.
He's the same guy we met. I love people like that. I live for people like that don't change, like you. Who has been the same, has been championing, I want to jump into this as well, who has been championing not only designers, but models, the next generation.
And I saw that you had Adrian.
Yes, Adrian Alisea, who was in the show with Willie Ninja.
Listen, I met Adrian and Willie Ninja on the Mugler runway stage.
They came to the show right after.
Me and Iman, we had on these tuxedos where it came, you took off the whatever, and all of a sudden I'm out, and then Iman comes, and there's Willie and Adrian voguing on the runway. I was like, oh my God. It was fierce. It was fabulous. And we became friends.
And they brought Thierry Mugler brought Vogue on, the first one to bring Vogue onto the runway was that show.
It was fabulous.
With Adrian and Willie Ninja, who we talked about here on cover for our show. We talked about
It
the
was
time.
fabulous. And we
Fabulous
left the
time.
show running down, and I had on a big, long, red, to the ground Patrick Kelly coat. It was fabulous.
Fabulous days.
Adrian, mwah.
Fabulous days.
Love him.
But you do that now. Let's talk about now where you are in terms of another thing that you do is, you know, you give back. You always give back.
Well, you know what it is also? I give back, but I like to be in the room, in the situation where people are creating. And that's with Adrian for a while. And my mother was sick. And if it weren't for people like Adrian and my friend William Gooch from Fashion Revelry, I think I would have lost my mind, because I gave them, but they gave me an outlet to be creative behind the scenes. I could not be in front of the camera because I was really miserable.
Coco, I don't mean it.
Is that the cover?
There's the cover.
I love it. Oh! Thank you, Musa.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it.
We wanted it to be where you are now. Paul, can you speak?
You know, of course I can't see without.
I know. So Paul, it's beyond. Can we show anything else, Paul? Can we show a couple other images? Can we show? Can you hear me? Can we show a couple other images? So guys, this is our cover of the great Coco Mitchell, which will be dropping the cover story on Saturday. Okay, we always, our viewers always get a sneak preview, but we'll be dropping the actual cover with the cover story, the editorial on Saturday.
Yes.
We're going to show you some other shots. Once again,
Yeah.
bear with us.
Yes. Love.
And thank you so much, love, Nikki.
Yes.
And Sarah Parker
Yes.
for the beautiful shoes. My God, who am I? Okay, my Suzuki gave us the ring. Of course, Paul Morejon, our creative director and our photographer behind the scenes, with Courtney Douglas.
Yes.
Which was amazing. Courtney, young Courtney from Harlem. He can't speak, he can't verbally, but he's waving. And there's Stephen. Can you speak?
Hi.
Hi.
Coco.
Can we say hi? Say hi, Stephen.
Hi, Stephen.
Hi, Coco. How are you?
Hi,
Can you come up closer to the mic, babe?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, just talk like you're on Broadway.
Well, I have to say it was one of the most amazing experiences being with you, Coco.
Oh my God. Oh
it was
my
incredible.
God.
Thank you.
Oh,
Can we show anything else? Can we show? Look.
Oh my God, Stephen without the mask. Hi,
yes.
baby. Paul, you're a master.
Isn't he a
master?
master?
This is like a master. This is almost like a painting to me. Show another one. Show another one. Paul. More.
Oh my goodness. It's beautiful.
Isn't that stunning?
Hi, Courtney.
Hey, Crystal. Thank you so much.
Hi, Courtney.
Byron, thank you.
I put my glasses on. I could see
if
people
you can
now.
show us one more, Paul, maybe another one. Can we get the other one with it? Look at this.
Gorgeous.
Shut the front door.
So we were talking about the hair. Thank you so much, Kevin. The face, the beat, it's fabulous.
Stephen, Kevin, Paul.
Yes.
The hair work.
Thank you.
You did that.
You did it. Woo.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Paul's trying, like, he's really, I know Paul. Thank you, Crystal. Trying to get these images up, and you see them because it's,
Crystal.
It's amazing. They're amazing. They're gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Wow.
They really are beautiful. There's a few more that are stunning. So, but he's trying to get them up. I know. Thank you, Sheila.
I'm sorry, guys. I have to wear glasses
look at this
in order
one.
to see.
That's stunning.
Wow. Yes.
And the beautiful Love Benetti. Diego Benetti, the designer. thank you so much for helping us with this collection, fabulous collection.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the love, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. If we have anything more, Paul, you know I want to show them all. Here. More.
And you guys have to send me pictures.
Oh, yeah, for
Please.
sure. No, we got you, babe.
Okay.
We got you.
Because, you know, sometimes you have to chase people down.
No, we ain't chasing nothing. But
You know you do, Coco. Sometimes
what you don't realize, and Coco does realize, these sometimes shoots take months before you get into, right?
Can I tell you something?
We did this on Monday.
Listen, they take forever. It takes a long time. And at the same time, I don't know.
Did Monday, right? Was it Monday? It was Monday.
Monday.
It feels like last week or something.
No, it
we
was.
just did it Monday. Look at this one.
No, Monday.
I don't see anything.
Can you see it? Babe?
Oh,
it's
Wow.
It's
beautiful.
gorgeous. That's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Gorgeous.
It's so beautiful. And we did with the geometry of the dress. And this is the one thing they love and easy.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, I can't look at myself anymore.
Okay. It's so beautiful. Oh my God. Thank you so much, Coco.
Well, thank you.
Thank you guys. As always, it's always a pleasure bringing such an amazing team. Thank you, Stephen, for your mastery. Kevin said to tell you guys a little technically challenged.
Kevin, I love you anyway.
But we love you. You are totally here in spirit. Thank you, Casey Duke, for this.
Casey!
We love Casey.
I love Casey.
I love Casey. You know that, right, girl? And Crystal, thank you so much.
Thank you, Crystal.
For allowing us to come to home. Courtney Douglas, we love you, man. Keep up the great work, and I love our great team. It's a wonderful, this is wonderful. It's a great show. And thank you so much, Coco, for all this, I want to say, for meeting you, from a black model from the era. I came in 83, 37 years, so we came around the same time. And I want to say to you, we didn't always get an opportunity to tell the women what they meant to us. And now I'm able to give you an opportunity to tell you what you meant to me. In terms of being there with us and knowing that I don't think you knew what we were doing in terms of the history that we were making back then.
I knew we were making history.
I didn't know it was making history. The first black guy, I didn't know that. I just know that I was in the room.
First of all, here we are in Europe.
Right.
Who in our family went to Europe?
None. I was the first one on the
Okay, so there.
I get it. I get it. And here we are today, and I'm able to say to you, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of all that you've done. I'm proud of your legacy.
Thank you.
And I'm just honored that I get to show it in a magnificent way, and you got to see this wonderful woman.
Thank you.
Today, right now, because she continues to be in the now. Just like the title, she's a timeless beauty.
Because of God's grace.
Because of God's grace.
That's right.
I want to end on one thing with you.
Yeah.
Since we talked about before with God. Because why we end with Alpha and Omega? Because there is no end in beginning with God, right? So that's what I believe. So
that's the word.
That's the word. Give us the word, baby, and take us out with the word for you.
Well, first of all, in the Bible, in Jeremiah, the Lord says, I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans for good and not for evil. Plans to give you an expected end. The end is good. He has plans for us. Stick with your faith in God. If you have faith in yourself and faith in man, you're going to always fail. You have to step out of yourself, and that's what I had to do. Because here I was in all of this wonderfulness and blessings, but no one was happy. People were complaining, and I was thinking, how is this possible? We have to be grateful. So I just thank God for all of you, and for Musa, thank you for having me. Thank you everyone that came on. Just really don't give up. Stop, don't, whatever they're saying in the news, stick with love. Love each other. Let's just try to love each other.
There you go.
The person next to you.
I'll leave it on that.
I can't talk anymore.
You know what? And I think that's the perfect place to say goodnight. And on that, I see Casey Duke and Angelique. Hi.
Yes.
Very spiritual woman there as well.
Yes.
And I just want to say thank you all. Coco's absolutely right. Let's remember that we're loving beings, and let's go in love and not let any hate come in our bodies because it's a disease. It's not good. Okay.
Yeah. Make your intention love when you walk into a space, when you walk into the room, when you leave your house. Let's just be loving and kind.
Yeah, we can do that. And on that note, I want to say to everyone, and once again to our staff, Paul, we're signing off. Once again, he's got a glass of wine. I join you, baby.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul, once again. And all the great team and everyone out there. We had a wonderful time this evening.
Yes.
And it's fun. And I can't wait for you guys. It will be out on Saturday, hopefully morning. We'll try, right, Paul? He would say yes. He did a thumbs up.
Thank you, Paul.
But we're gonna do it like that, okay? But anyway, please do. Love, save the light. I love you all. Have a good night.
Yes. Be ambassadors of light.
There you go, ambassadors of light.
That's it.
Ambassador Digital Magazine, signing off. We love you.
Bye.